Welcome back to the WCS America Challenger League Qualifier Tournament. We've seen a lot of great games so far. In fact, why don't we could actually take a look at some of these brackets and see some of the results.
Yeah, I'd love to see the brackets right now so we can catch up on what's going on in the other sets of matches.
So on our first match, we saw In Control lose 2-0 to Pig from Australia. And of course, that moves Pig up. We also see a Jaedong versus Noni match to try to get into that after our one coming up. Hyun, of course, is still waiting on his next match. We saw Root Puck actually take out Root Sage in a really nice set.
Yeah, in a root-on-root battle. So now going to be going up against Desro from FXO Open, and I'm going to be really excited to see that match as well. You know, I said before that I really like the PvP matchup right now, and I think that would be a really good set of matches.
It really would. I kind of feel like Puck, after taking out Sage, is a favorite to go very, very far. Unfortunately, if she does get past Desro, she's most likely going to end up against Hyun in that final match to make the winner qualify. That's going to be an insanely tough match. But also remember, it's a double elimination tournament, so even if she falls to Hyun, she'll have that second chance.
And yeah, so let's take a look at this set. We have Bales versus Champ coming up, as well as Mia and Moose Skills. And KawaiiRice versus Demuslim, which is the one we're going to be getting into. Another TVT, which is what I'm really excited for. I mean, TVT, as we saw, there's just such a diversity to watch. QXC. I haven't seen QXC in a lot of tournaments lately. Have you?
He's played in pretty much every qualification event, but you know he hasn't had the most success in recent tournaments. Of course, trying to make it through these very, very tough brackets, and up against Max said, one of the best players from China. I think he's gonna have a really rough round 2 as well. Top versus Fitzy here should be interesting. I mean, I think most people are, of course, gonna bet on Top being one of those top Chinese guys. But Fitzy here has some really creative builds. Like sometimes you think like, oh, he's only on 2-3 bases. I'm on 6. I can crush him. But really, he's on 3 bases because he's just like slowly building up his Doom army with like 59 queens and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Very, very crazy build coming out there from Fitzy here. Could possibly catch Top off guard, and I would really like to see those matches. Xenio versus JYP. Come on, that would be a great match, and that's going to be. I can't even call who's going to win that one.
Very, very even match here. Drunken Boy versus Pig should be fun as well. You know, Pig, a great player from Australia, and Drunken Boy has shown that he's actually one of the best players in the Americas. He qualified by doing so well in the GM ladder to make it into that Starcraft America Invitational Tournament, the Total Biscuits Husky. That's going to be on, I think, starting tomorrow, so look out for him. Tilia versus Elige, and actually, so our next match, we're just waiting on Demuslim, is going to be Demuslim versus KawaiiRice. And KawaiiRice was telling him that Tilia actually helps him out a lot with coaching.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really actually pretty interesting. So that's going to be really good then, if he's been practicing up on his TVT. Hendrilisk versus Center is going to be another really good match. We saw Hendrilisk just doing, coming out of nowhere, doing a lot of damage. We've seen him in a lot of online tournaments, but I haven't actually seen him do any of the major tournaments like this too often, and if he does, he doesn't really get the great results. But I mean, already we're seeing him taking out Loner and now going up Center. I would really like to see the results of that match to see if Hendrilisk is actually really turned into such a professional player.
That's something I think a lot of people were caught off guard by. And if he takes out Center too, he's really going to establish himself.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be like the Reddit threads. There's going to be 18 of them up there. And of course, the last match that was down there was Trimaster versus Tasia. And yet another TVT, yet another incredibly good match. That's going to be... I'm going to have to give it to Tasia because, he's my boy. But, Trimaster is still an incredibly good Terran player and on Team Complexity as well, especially since Sasquatch is now in the losers bracket. I think that's Complexity's only player that's left in the brackets.
QXC.
QXC, yeah. Right, you're right.
So they got a couple left. And I think they already have 1 or 2 players might have made it through in the Premier League. I have to relook at those. Of course, our match coming up is going to be KawaiiRice versus Demuslim. And Demuslim, everyone says this guy is one of the guys who for sure is going to make it through. He's done very, very well in tournaments before. At WCS UK second place. Has even won a couple of premier events like Home Story, very high in IEM as well. Exceptionally strong player, and people watching his stream lately say he's actually been getting so much better over the last couple months.
Yeah, and I actually do watch a lot of his stream. I'm a Terran player myself, and he's incredibly informative. He's, incredibly funny as well, but it's just, you can see already he's got a 52% win rate against Terran. It's not, you know, the best win rate, but still, I think most of those percentages have a positive delta since the last time we saw him. He's definitely been getting better. You're completely right about that, and I'd really like to see how this match is going to start going.
It's going to be exciting because he's up against KawaiiRice. KawaiiRice is a guy who loves battle cruisers in TVT. I've seen him so many times just go straight for those battle cruisers, which I love too. I think they're one of the coolest units in StarCraft, right behind the Zealot, my personal favorite unit. But, you know, who doesn't love seeing some battle cruisers? Hopefully KawaiiRice will bring those back into the matchup. I haven't seen him play TVT super recently.
And actually, Demuslim has joined the lobby, so it looks like we're going to be able to get this game underway. Let me just make sure that the players are ready. And if we are, yep, it looks like Demuslim's ready, just going straight on into the lobby. Being, you know, fashionably late, but we'll accept it for now.
Of course, the first map is going to be Akalon Wastes. And this is a map I don't think either player will go mech. KawaiiRice normally doesn't play mech too much in TVT, although, like I said, I actually haven't seen him play super recently. And, you know, we saw both X, Y, and Center prefer the bio here as well.
All right, guys, so let's get on into game number 1 here. KawaiiRice actually spawning as the Zerg down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Blue is going to be his favored color choice here.
Did he go random?
No, he went Zerg.
He went Zerg?
He's
okay.
playing Zerg.
Wow.
He's, I believe he switched over about a year ago, maybe? He's been going back and forth still on his, when we see him, but he's playing Zerg for this tournament. And spawning up here in the top left-hand corner from Team Evil Geniuses RC, it is Demuslim. So yeah, it looks like he's going to be going back into Zerg. I mean, I think it was Heart of the Swarm, actually, he switched over to Zerg.
Okay.
That we've been seeing him at least in tournaments as Zerg. But of course, you know, he still plays as Terran here and there. And I think he's actually random on ladder, if I remember correctly.
A man of many skills.
And you know, that's one of those awesome things, you know, if you're really good at the other races, you know when your opponent is weak. You see if, you know, the Reaper comes out, you know he's going to only have 2 Marines for a couple of seconds, you know, whatever, and you can start to mass out a whole bunch of Zergling and really take advantage of the weaknesses of all the other races when you play random like that.
See Demuslim going for the Barracks followed by Refinery, both on 11. So he's going to be looking to get these Reapers out very quickly and really showcase his amazing micro, trying to get as much damage done onto KawaiiRice as possible early on.
And those Reapers, you know, have just become so prevalent ever since Heart of the Swarm. They don't do the light damage anymore, but, you know, just with so much damage and the ability to regenerate, kind of pop in, do some damage, go away for a little bit, come back in again, that's exactly what you need. KawaiiRice, of course, going to be going for the hatch first at 15. And going to throw down a 16th drone and then probably throw a spawning pool down shortly after. But with that later spawning pool, you're not going to have the Queen out as early, and especially not going to have any type of speed laying out, as you don't have any gas. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to deal with that Reaper, especially if multiple Reapers start coming out.
Definitely going to be a little bit tricky. We've really seen a couple different ways Zergs try to deal with these early Reaper builds. One, of course, just make a ton of drones, use Queens, and accept you're going to take some losses on the drones, but figure, okay, if I make nothing but drones, I can afford to lose a couple. Other Zergs try to get Zergling speed out as fast as possible to chase those Reapers away, and then some just get some Zerglings and just throw the Zerglings after Reapers, knowing a great player will kite and eventually kill them. But at least they're losing Zerglings and not drones or anything more important.
And that's one of those decisions we're going to have to watch out here for KawaiiRice, whether or not... Oh, actually grabbing a third base. That is an interesting decision here. Second Reaper on the way as well, so this is not going to be some one Reaper coming in here, scouting, maybe doing a little bit of damage. It's going to be a little bit more of a costly engagement here for for Demuslim.
Oh, the first round being focused. Can he turn it? Oh, changing targets to a different drone.
Wow.
Is he going to get it?
Beautiful micro. Does actually traps the Reaper. Oh my, KawaiiRice. That was such beautiful. Wow. I don't even words.
That's huge.
There's no words here.
I mean, now it's only going to be a single Reaper harass. And 2 Reapers are more than twice as good as a single Reaper at harassing. It's something like 3 or 4 times more effective. Just because you can start really picking at Queens a little bit, you kill everything so much faster, you can tank it more damage.
And the other Reaper actually going to get caught a little bit by the Zergling here. Not going to be taken out, but just is going to take a lot of damage here. And the Queen coming up as well. This is going to actually...
It might be cornered!
Oh, it's completely cornered. There is a ledge he can jump down, but it doesn't actually opt for that. Tries to get out through the natural ramp. These Reapers are being completely denied here for KawaiiRice, and this is exactly what I was talking about before. when you play other races like KawaiiRice tends to do, you know exactly what the weaknesses here are. You try to go for that kill. You try to be a little bit greedy with this Reaper, and if you can position correctly, oh, actually, Queen might take it out. If you position correctly, you can bait the Terran into positions that it normally doesn't think about. Because normally it's a Zerg thinking like a Zerg does, not a Zerg thinking like a Terran.
KawaiiRice really using his experience with Terran to his advantage here. Some of the best defensive Reaper I've actually ever seen, including over in Korea. So very impressive start for KawaiiRice. Of course, you know, it's not like the game's decided by any means. Demuslim, of course, 3 CC is coming up right now. Probably going to be getting some additional barracks and or engineering base. There goes double E base. So he's really looking to play in the macro game here.
And interestingly enough, behind that, grabbing double Widow Mines, and those little Widow Mines are walking, scurrying, scuttling their way across the map. And it looks like they're going to try and get into a nice little forward position, possibly to actually cut off support to the third base. And if he can do that, then he can start doing a lot more damage to it. There's nothing really too much actually following this up.
Queen,
actually, might just
careful.
go straight for the Queen.
Cool. 2 Widow Mines, of course, can take out that Queen. Got to be very careful of that. Queen's going down again. KawaiiRice knows the range of these things so well.
And the Creep Tumor just barely gets up here. If the Hellion can target, yep, there we go. If the Hellion splash damage can actually take out Creep Tumors by hitting themselves, well, hitting the other Hellion. And that was a pretty smart play there by Demuslim, just denying as much of that creep spread as possible.
So KawaiiRice is building a Spore Crawler, and it's not like he thinks there's Banshees. He's going to use that to detect the Widow Mines, and then they can push down Roaches and take them out. Probably going to use, he's going to use 1 Roach attack to hit, so he's going to use the slow Zerglings.
Oh, I don't know. Actually, it's going to go, yep, to that 1 Roach.
Oh, and a Transfuse.
And a Transfuse. That is pretty smart there by KawaiiRice once again.
Slick moves.
Slick moves, but oh, that Widow Mine is going to take out one of them and actually going to really hurt the other one with the splash damage, and now the Hellions have a little bit more leniency. They can kind of be a little bit more aggressive, as there's only 1 Roach out here, and it's actually pretty hurt. The Hellions now taking out all the Zergling. There's only 1 Roach left, and the Hellions do a surround and take it out. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult for KawaiiRice to deal with. There's only a single Roach. There's 2 more out on the way. There's a couple more coming out here from the main, but he can start to do a little bit of economic damage on KawaiiRice's mineral lines. He
could, but KawaiiRice is actually mocking the drones pretty well, taking it. Oh no, the drones are coming! He barely got those out there, taking a decent amount of losses, but he actually killed a lot of Hellions too, so it's not clear who really came out ahead there. You know, it might have been a fairly even trade. KawaiiRice, of course, is now ending those evolution chambers. He's up to Lair Tech. I predict, yeah, there he goes. Ton of drones being thrown down. He knows the harass is over. He also knows Demuslim has been playing very, very greedy behind his harass, so he's fine to drone up as much as he wants.
Very, very greedy indeed. We see 4 Raxes now down here as a whole bunch of reactors are going down as well. Double engineering bay as he's getting those upgrades. Is there an armory out already?
No, he's forgotten that.
He hasn't gotten the armory, so he's going to be a little bit delayed going on into 2-2. But that's okay. He's going to have very, very early upgrades and grabbing this third base as well as a huge macro behind this. I mean, he's throwing down even more and more barracks, so he's going to have so many Marines coming out here. It's going to be very, very difficult for KawaiiRice to deal with.
I'm really curious to see how KawaiiRice is going to make his build evolve. Is he going to go for the Muteless? Is he going to go for Infestors, straight to Ultraless? Just now taking the 5th and 6th gases as expansions, upgrading the Speedling attack. Of course, that'll help for Ultras or Broodlords later down the road as well. Okay, there we go. Spire and Baiting Nest, so he is going to go for that standard Speedling, Speedbane, Muteless combination.
And that's a really good combination. It does keep those Marines stimming back and forth. If you can get all the Marines to keep stimming continually again and again, wear out those medevacs, and then eventually get a surround, and all the Baneling hits on there are going to clean up those forces very, very nicely. As well as being able to take advantage of whenever any type of huge aggressive force out here from Demuslim is moving across the map, your mutas can loop around and do some economic damage. It's pretty much the only way that Zerg can deal with economic damage, and it's actually a really smart decision against very, very Marine-heavy type build, as opposed to Roach Hydra.
Definitely is going to help him out quite a lot. Of course, we see Zergling Speed just now finishing it. KawaiiRice really delayed that in favor to get that economy going, using the Roaches instead to defend, which is something we've seen a good number of Zergs do.
And we can take a look at the income tab. It's about 78 to 69 right now in favor of KawaiiRice. Of course, there are some mules out there as well. So, it's about 130 workers for Terran to the 79 for Zerg, but a group of Zergling trying to get us around on this MMM army, but it looks like there is going to be a quick little medevac at the very, very end of that battle.
Very efficient trade.
All those forces incredibly hurt, but not actually as many died as I thought they were going to.
As long as Muslim keeps him alive, he's taking actually some pretty decent trades here. Of course, that's because he had the 1-1 upgrades, and KawaiiRice still didn't have any at the time of that engagement. Now KawaiiRice just finishing up his upgrades to try to equalize it. The Muslim's gonna just retreat. Happy that he's killed a couple creep tumors and also gotten a pretty efficient trade, and importantly, identified his opponent is going at speedy and baiting style.
So it looks like the Muslims kind of trying to draw a happy face on the map, maybe, with a whole bunch of overlords around the bottom that have, great map vision and everything, but they're kind of forming a nice little curve there. And if you look at the map, it kind of looks like a happy face, maybe. A little bit wonky.
The famous KawaiiRice smile.
But here comes the engagement. All the banelings do not have speed yet. Speed baneling is still on the way. They are not roly-poly. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to get those banelings to get those connects, but it's okay. You just have to deny the Terran army from being able to do anything. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Interestingly, KawaiiRice expanding to the top right instead of taking that third that was kind of down the rocks and in the location the Muslim has his third. Could be a reason because he doesn't want to deal with drops bouncing between the third and the main. Just wants to keep all his expansions in a linear fashion, the same way he has all his creep spread.
And not only that, but it's a little bit less expected. So he's going to keep scanning at that third base location that we keep thinking, or the fourth base location that we think he's going to be grabbing. But he's not. He hasn't. He's grabbed that at the 2 o'clock position. So it's going to be a little bit less expected and maybe even unscouted.
KawaiiRice setting up a potential multi-side flank, but the one side is a little bit too soon over the top. The bottom side isn't quite ready to engage.
And the speed baneling upgrade just came in a little bit too late there, too. They did start to roly-poly, but not soon enough to actually be effective. Here comes the banelings once again, and here comes a whole bunch of Zergling as well, and actually he's going to be able to go right on in before the spread. Does a lot of damage. There is a quick medevac, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get away because the Mutalists are cleaning them up, but more and more Marines spilling in here for Demuslim.
Well, a nice flank by KawaiiRice, but Demuslim just seems to have too many units heading down here onto the creep. So many Marines, and there's no banings to answer them.
And you don't want to be engaging this army with only Mutalists. Mutalists lose so quickly to so many Marines, especially because they have 2-2, 3-3 on the way. And KawaiiRice is just shy of getting 2-2 on his Zergling, but it's just not soon enough. He's throwing all of his units into this grinder here. KawaiiRice now going to lose this fourth base. And he's in a bit of trouble now. He has to build up an army, but he keeps trying to go in beforehand.
Oh, an absolutely dominant play by Demuslim, just parading Marines across the map, constantly reinforcing there and just absolutely overwhelming KawaiiRice. It was at the opening, I think, really. It looked like it was bad for Demuslim, but he was macroing so insanely behind it.
That's exactly what the problem is there. I mean, he was very aggressive in the beginning, and KawaiiRice, had a pretty good foothold in the very, very beginning, but once those Hellions broke through, once those Hellions were able to do a lot of econ damage, it delayed him enough so that Demuslim felt completely comfortable grabbing more and more global command centers, was able to grab more barracks, and just keep that constant stream of Marines up. And I have to say, Marines are pretty good.
Especially when you can micro them like that. Demuslim, great splits. Even picking up the Marines and using Ignite Afterburners to carry them to safely when there was no option to split because of that well-done flank by KawaiiRice. But it's just the micro and macro Demuslim, his mechanics are just too good in this game for KawaiiRice to keep up with them.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, we'll get into game number 2 rather shortly, but we're going to go to a quick commercial break before we do that. Stay tuned. I'm Sham2. With me is Axelov. We'll be right back.